Hey guys, James Laney here. Got another video for you today. This is going to be video 3 in my Getting Started in Steel Challenge series. So today I'm going to cover rimfire rifles. There's two divisions. There's an open division, which allows red dot sights, optical sights, and there's an iron sight division. I shoot the open division because I shoot a red dot. So, just to kind of give you an overview, I started shooting rimfire rifle just because I had a Ruger 1022 sitting in the safe, and it would work. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go give it a shot and see how it goes. Originally, my Ruger 1022 was set up for silhouette shooting, so it was a bit on the heavy side. It was 7.5 pounds or so. And I've made some changes to it since I originally started a month and a half ago. So, and like I said, we're going to discuss some of those changes in this video and some other key aspects of selecting your components to kind of help you get started better, maybe save you some money in the long run. So, like I said, originally it started out as a silhouette rifle. I had a 18-inch all steel bull barrel on it and a wooden silhouette stock. This was the stock originally I had on it. So after the first match, I replaced the barrel, and I replaced it with a carbon fiber barrel, and that made my front end too light. So I took this to my mill and started shaving wood off. I shaved a bunch of wood out of the front, shaved a bunch of wood out of the back, drilling holes and stuff in it, and I was able to get about 3/4 of a pound, but it made it very stock heavy at that point, which was okay. I mean, but it made it a little too fast. And we're going to talk a little bit more on balancing a rifle out and how that balancing affects your rifle when you go to swing it. I'm currently this is what I'm shooting. So I'm using a Axiom stock. I did change out the actual butt piece for an MFT, and the only reason I changed this out was because this one kind of has a little angle to it and it rolls up better, because you're going to start at a low ready position aiming at your cone or whatever they have sitting on the ground for you to aim at starting out, and you'll roll it up into position. And this one just rolls up a little bit better for me. This butt piece runs about $40. They're fairly inexpensive. The stock as a whole is very inexpensive. I think I got this for around $60 off Amazon or one of them places like that. And they're a great stock to start out with. The Ruger Action, this is just a standard Ruger Action. I've had this one for 30 years or so. I did put the trigger that I was using for silhouette shooting. I had done a lot of work to it, and it did not have the reset springs and everything in it because I had it set for a really light trigger pull, and so it wasn't resetting. And obviously for Steel Challenge, you need your trigger to reset. So I threw in a Ruger BX trigger. I have done a little bit to this one, just polishing a few parts and things like that, and it's pulling right about a pound 14 ounces right now. So I don't think I'm going to go any lighter than that. And I don't know that I'm going to plan on upgrading it anytime soon. My barrel, I went with a Quartzen ultralight barrel. These barrels are designed for Steel Challenge type shooting, rimfire challenge shooting. They do have a proprietary chamber in it. It's not a match chamber because you want to avoid the chambers like bench chambers and things like that. You want to go with more of a sporting chamber because they'll feed more reliably. And then this has a compensator of my own design. So when I sat down and started selecting parts, like I said, I had some trial and error knowledge with what I currently had. And I chose these parts. So I purely went with the Quartzen barrel because I just happened to stumble upon it on sale for $200, and I picked it up. And I'm really happy I did because it's a very accurate barrel. I haven't scoped it at 50 yards or anything, but I have no doubt this is going to be sub half inch at 50 yards. at 20 yards, which is where I sight mine in, it's easily dime size 10 shot groups or less. It really likes the Norm Attack 22, which is substantially less than dime size. It's almost just one little ragged hole. So it's a plenty accurate barrel for Steel Challenge. Like I said, accuracy is not the primary concern. Reliability is the primary concern for Steel Challenge. And like I said, this one's been very good to me. This barrel weighs about 15 ounces. Stock weighs right about a pound and maybe a pound an ounce or two. The action weighs right about a pound. So this setup without the sight weighs just a tick over 3 pounds, 3 pounds, 2 ounces, something like that. The sight, so this was not the original sight that I started out with. I originally started out with a Hollow Sun 50 or a 407, just a single dot, and I decided I wanted a larger field of view so I could acquire targets quicker. And I wanted something with a circle because I wanted to try something with a circle. So this is the 510C, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's got the solar panel on it, battery. So it's battery and solar. It's plenty bright enough. I haven't ran into any conditions yet. I've shot in the rain with it, had absolutely no problems with it. I really like this sight. If I can find a way to put this on my pistol, I'm going to probably put one on my pistol as well, but it's going to be a little big on a pistol. It seems to be pretty durable. It's an aluminum sight, but it has a titanium housing over it. These sights run right around $300. I've seen them on sale for $260, $280. I think I got this at Cabela's for like $310. So I mean, they're not crazy expensive. They're not cheap either, but they're pretty quality. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can get the red dot on there where you can see it. Oh, there it is. It's got a 65 MOA dot in it, or a circle in it, with a 2 MOA dot. And my initial impression was like, man, a 65 circle, MOA circle is just huge, right? I gotta say, it is like the perfect size for Steel Challenge. It's just about perfect on the 10 and 12 inch plates at the distances we shoot. I don't even use the center dot. As soon as I start seeing white inside that circle, I'm pulling the trigger. Since I've put this sight on, I've been able to, at the last match, I had a 1.58 second run in Showdown with it. So, I mean, this sight definitely helped me get it in there. I've had a lot of sub 2 seconds in a lot of the different stages. So, like I said, the sight is very promising. I really like this, very happy with this decision, and would absolutely make that decision again. So, like I said, I did add a rubber handle grip. I think this one's a Packmeyer, but Hogue's got some. Just about any of them for pistols. They make some specifically for AR-15s. Will fit this. Pick out whichever one you like. Throw that on there. Like I said, I really like these. My one reservation about the stock initially before purchasing it is some people complained that it was a little flexy, and it is. You can probably see the amount of flex there. Like I said, it is flexible, but I will say that it's rigid in all the right places, and I will say that it free floats it enough that the flex that it does have, I've seen absolutely no effect on it whatsoever. I tend to grip it out here on the very forend when I go to swing, and it's just been a good stock. It's been a very popular stock. I see a lot of different people with these. A lot of really, really good shooters are shooting these. So like I said, that kind of helped sway my decision on that. Let's talk about balance real quick, because balance in your rifle is very important. So initially, when I was shooting this gun in its original configuration, where it was set up for silhouette, it was very barrel heavy. And when you make something barrel heavy, it tends to slow it down. When you make something stock heavy, it tends to speed things up. So initially, this gun was barrel heavy. When I put the carbon fiber barrel on it, it ended up being very stock heavy. And barrel heavy, it was a little slow. I was having to push the gun a little harder. When it was stock heavy, it made it a little too fast in the front end, and it made it a little harder to stop and slow down and things like that. So I decided, for me, and this is personal preference, some people are going to want it one way or the other. I decided I wanted more of a neutral balance. So like I said, neutral balance for most people is going to be in and around where the action is. Like I said, right about where my finger is where the balance point is. You can kind of see. So like I said, that's right where the magazine is. And like I said, that's just kind of what works best for me, is having a more neutral balance. If you like a little stock heavy, you do need to select your components wisely, because if you select something that's heavier in the back, heavier in the front, they can be more difficult to offset if you have a lot of weight you got to offset. Because the further forward you go, the harder it is to offset it in the back, and vice versa. If I wanted to add a little weight in the back, which I may put like a cheek riser or something and make this maybe just a tick stock heavy, I can do that if I want, and I may do that just to get me up on this sight, because it's a little higher than I was previously set up. If I don't do that, I will probably lower the sight to the receiver. Another thing that I can do is I can move this sight back and forth a little bit. The sight's kind of heavy. It weighs about 9 ounces, which brings the total weight up of this to about 3 pounds 11 ounces, somewhere right around there. But I can move this sight back and forth, and I can affect the balance of the rifle that way. If I wanted to slow down the muzzle, I could put a heavier muzzle compensator on there, and I could, this is an aluminum one, I could put a steel one on there if I wanted to add some weight out front. So there's different ways of adjusting this. There's all kinds of little spots you could stick lead or anything like that back here if you wanted to add some weight back here. So like I said, just keep that in mind. Balance is very important in how the rifle's going to handle and feel, and how it's going to swing. So like I said, if any of you guys are old shotgun shooters, trap shooters, sporting clay shooters, you're probably familiar with that concept pretty good too. So let me speak a little bit about magazines real quick. I am currently using just the Ruger 10 round rotary magazines. They're fairly cheap, and they're very reliable. They're fairly easy to take apart. You can tune them a little bit if you need to put a little more tension in them, a little less tension. It's real easy to do that with the way the springs wound up. I found those for me to be the most reliable. I would say avoid the 30 round magazines, the 25 round magazines for the Ruger 10/22, just because they have a lot of play, and when they just due to the weight and everything hanging down, and when you get that can make them be a little bit unreliable. So the one exception of that I have seen, and they've been pretty reliable for most people, are the 15 round, the Ruger BX 15s. They're a 15 round. They are a small banana clip, not a very big one. They don't hang a foot down or anything. And those seem to be very reliable. I would say they're not quite as reliable as the rotary magazines for a lot of people, but they seem to be very reliable. So like I said, I think you'd probably be all right shooting those if you wanted to, but I would avoid the BX25s, the BX30s, any of the aftermarket ones. I would probably just avoid, because the 10 round rotaries are just so good. Ruger really nailed that one. I do see some other rifles being shot out there at these matches, but the 10/22 is probably like 80% of people probably shoot a Ruger 10/22. The other 15% probably make up some sort of AR-15 22. The M&P 15/22. There's a couple of different variations or manufacturers that manufacture those. I've seen one guy running a 22 conversion in his. He had a ton of problems. So it's probably not the best way to go. The 1522s seem to be reasonably reliable, but I by far and away see way more problems out of them than any of the 1022s. And another great thing about the 1022s that I see is the really expensive ones aren't necessarily any better than an off the shelf one. They have more bells and whistles, things like that. But I wouldn't say they're necessarily any more reliable or anything like that. I've seen people having problems with those. I've seen people have problems with off the shelf ones. Most of the time, the fixes are very simple. Most of the time, they're going to be extractor related, chamber related, just really simple things that are generally very easy to fix. There's tons of videos on how to fix a lot of those. Buddy of mine that's gotten started into this with me, he decided to shoot a Ruger 1022 off the shelf, went to Academy, bought one for $300, and first time he went out, he was shooting iron sights, had a load of fun, and I mean the rifle wasn't holding him back. A Grandmaster could probably shoot that at Grandmaster times, where a slow person's going to shoot it at slow person times. But he did have some malfunctions out of his, and he's tracked his down to the extractor groove, and the barrel wasn't deep enough. And what he did to fix that was, you could take it to a gunsmith, have him mill that out a little bit. He took a Dremel tool and with just like a little cutoff wheel and made that extractor cut just a little bit deeper, and his has worked fine since then. He did put a aftermarket extractor in it, and that's helped him. And there's some other little tips and tricks you can do out there. There's a whole lot that's real easy to do with a 1022 that make them very easy to get started with. I may get my son started in this as well, and I'll probably start him out with a Ruger 1022 unless he just really wants to go the 1522 route. But like I said, you probably can't go wrong with the 1022. There's tons of aftermarket accessories for these. They're easy to shoot. They're fun to shoot. The trigger quality on Ruger 1022s is just outstanding. They're probably one of the better triggers that you can find in guns out there. And they're, if you really want to go high end with like a kid trigger or something like that, those are just fantastic. Bang for your buck. It's a Ruger BX trigger group is going to be pretty hard to beat. Like I said, I've seen a couple of those straight out of the box. Most of those are going to pull 2 1/4 pounds. They're reasonably good and crisp, and they're not going to hold you back. So I think that pretty much covers it in this video. I can't really think of anything else I want to talk about on this one. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel because that helps me out. I'm going to put some links to some other videos in here. They should be in the corners. I should have the subscribe button somewhere down in this corner over here. So like I said, please click on that, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have videos coming out regularly, covering this, covering other things in the shooting world. So like I said, subscribe to that, watch my other videos. Like I said, there'll be some links to those. And just get out there and shoot. If you run into me at one of these matches, come up and talk to me. If you've got any questions, if there's anything that you want to see me possibly review in the future, put it down in the comments. If you find any good deals on anything of this, stick that down in the comments. Because like I said, I want to help people get started into this. And then, like I said, if you can save some money or pick the right equipment the first time around, I'm all for that. So thanks for watching, and like I said, if you see me out on the range, be sure to come talk to me. Like I said, I'm somewhat friendly, and I definitely like to talk to you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.